Welcome to the Rensselaer County Legislature. Tonight is a presentation portion of our meeting. This is resolutions we've passed in prior months, and we have family members in or groups of other folks to be honored and recognized and remembered this portion of the meeting. So without further ado, P 32517 is a resolution adjourning the July 11th, 2017 legislative meeting in fond memory of Rensselaer County Legislator Honorable Lester E. Gutermote. Presentation by myself and the other legislators who would like to join, and I know we have some members and friends from the Gutermotes. Lester's family and friends, please come down and join us in the chambers. Welcome again. All right. Come on over here, my right-hand man. Okay. Hello. Hi. How are you?
They come with the crew.
I love it.
It's this whole entourage.
Good evening again. As it was aforementioned, we passed Resolution P 15517. It's a resolution commending Lester Gutermote for his outstanding and valuable service to Rensselaer County as a member of this legislative body. So as you attest to right now, you've got family members here. So obviously young Lester's here, Christina, many friends. As you just saw, the Sheffers are here, Lester's sister Marla, Jerry McAuliffe, Ed King, who am I missing? George Driscoll, Will DeSheffer, George Kaufman. This is extended family for us, Lester was. This is his family here. This is another extended family. This just is a testament to Lester Gutermote and his service to his community and how many friends he truly had. They're taking their time out this evening to come and help us remember Lester. Whereas this legislative body has long endeavored to recognize those individuals who through their talents, hard work, and dedication and patriotism contribute greatly to the quality of life in Rensselaer County. And whereas Lester Gutermote faithfully served residents of this great county as a member of this legislative body and provided capable and valuable service to residents in District 5, which includes the towns of Hoosick, Petersburg, Grafton, Berlin, and Stephentown. And whereas Lester announced in March that he would be retiring from this legislative body due to ongoing health issues. And whereas members of this legislative body wish to recognize the long, faithful, and valuable service of Lester to the residents of this county. And whereas Lester was elected to 3 terms to this legislative body, first winning the election in 2005, and winning re-election in 2009 and 13. And whereas Lester was proud of his accessibility and attention to his constituents and advocated for residents on issues big and small during service here as a legislator. And whereas Lester supported several consecutive budgets that were under the state tax cap, supported an agriculture and farmland protection plan that has protected several 1,000 acres of farmland and open space. Other fiscally responsible measures in county government and the legislative branch, and improvements to the county sewer district efforts. And whereas Lester also worked to improve broadband services in eastern Rensselaer County, supported business redevelopment efforts in the area, protected needed services for seniors, veterans, and youth, and advocated for and supported efforts to repair and improve roads and bridges along with local infrastructure. And whereas prior to his service as legislator, Lester also served the town of Hoosick and the village of Hoosick Falls as a justice for a couple of decades, and was active in numerous community organizations and groups. And whereas Lester was also active in the business community in Rensselaer County, owned a tax preparation business, popular gift shop, the Potter Hill Barn, and other ventures and properties. And whereas this legislative body does wish Lester Goodemote well on all future endeavors and pursuit following his retirement from this legislative body, unfortunately, he passed. And during this time, we'd like to recognize Lester Goodemote for his outstanding, valuable service to Rensselaer County. Those who live and work for this county have great debt owed to Lester Goodemote. I can speak as a running mate of his. So Lester and I got to meet up in the first election in 2005. We traveled up and down the eastern corridor, the Route 22 corridor we called it. What a great friend he was. What a great friend he was. I knew him before that, working at Curtis Lumber and other ventures. He'd call me on the phone at Curtis Lumber and he'd yell and scream at me. But after you get to know Lester, he becomes a true friend. And it shows here. Family knows that. Friendships know that. We travel up and down this corridor in the eastern Rensselaer County. I got some notes here. It's just traveled to many events together. As he mentioned, I think one of his highlights in his last days was we had a retirement for him at Giuseppe's. And boy, he was so happy for that retirement party. He loved to see everybody, and it was great. And one of his words, and this is true, he and I, we never had a bad word between each other. Whatever it was, we talked it out. It's kind of ironic today, I'm still looking in my contacts. I still have Lester's phone number in there, 421-3196. He loved people, and people loved him. There's no question. Like I said, here's his family, here's extended family. Now look who's up here. Every single person, legislator, is up here standing in tribute of Lester Goodemote. He was a friend to all of us on this floor. He meant a lot to everybody. It was sad when he wasn't able to be here, and his health just took over. I have some engrossed resolutions for the family. Future months, we always say in this chamber, in the back wall, there's the memorial wall. It's one of those things in your terms, you do not want to make that wall back there. And in future months, we'll be having a picture of Lester unveiled on that back wall. We'll be inviting you back future months. Lester was a friend to all of us, and he's missed in this chamber, I can tell you that. Any other legislator like to say anything, please?
I met Lester in 1987. We were judges together. We went a lot of judicial trainings together. Lester was quite a unique individual. Besides raising a fantastic family, he had a lot of quirks. You know, you had to keep an eye on Lester. You know, he was, as Stan said, he was a good friend. And when you were a friend of Lester's, you were a true friend of Lester's. He took care of the people he liked and loved. You know, it's a great feeling knowing that Lester's in heaven with the angels, but he is not a saint, trust me.
Any other legislators?
I'd just like to
Sure, please do.
thank the family for coming, and Lester was a true friend. I thank him, I wish he could have filled his term out, that I had to step in and finish for him, but I'd just like to thank Christine. I drive bus, and Caroline is on my boss's granddaughter, so I was always told I had to take good care of her when she was on the bus by Lester. And he will be missed. He was a good friend. He was our tax accountant for the farm, and he's going to be missed, that's all.
Okay. Anybody from the family like to say anything?
What's that?
Anybody from the family like to say anything? Okay. No. Any friends? Open mic?
You don't have any stories?
Marla?
I just want to say, we lost our road in July, and everybody else had. And I had to thank Jeff because he was one of the first ones down there to crawl in the hole. We struggled. And finally, middle of August, after we found the money, the equipment arrived. Well, my husband came home, we didn't get our mail, we didn't get our newspaper, we didn't get our garbage. So we had a hole that was probably 8 feet wide, 10 feet deep.
Longer than that, probably.
In the mailman would put our newspaper in a plastic bag with a rock in it and throw it across the hole. That's how we got our newspaper. So anyways, thank you. It looks great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Good job. Good job.
We're trying, thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Judy, no less. Or, yeah, obviously, right?
Oh, my.
No Judy and no Leon, sorry. And then this.
Not coming, or?
Right, don't read this in.
Are they here now?
No. But sometimes you like to read extras, just in case. So I just don't want you to.
Okay. Thank you to the Goodermolt family and friends for letting us recognize and honor Lester E. Goodermolt. Also passed last month, P 34617, resolution commending Jacqueline Nixon for her dedicated service to the city of Rensselaer. Presentation by Legislator Stammel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is definitely a pleasure for me to honor a good friend of mine and somebody I've known for a long time, and that is Mrs. Jacqueline Nixon. And I ask her and her family to come down, as well as some friends and employees that assist her, that work with her. Thank you. Traffic was terrible, wasn't it? I knew it. I was holding things off. Come on down here. You're not. You'd be good. Piece of cake, you know that. Let me make this a little short and sweet for a very special lady who's sweet as well. A resolution commending Jacqueline Nixon for her dedicated service to the city of Rensselaer. And whereas the county is only as great as those persons that provide exemplary service to their community, particularly when that service is voluntary and selfish in nature. And whereas consistent with that duty of this legislative body to recognize the contributions and achievements of individuals that distinguish themselves by selfish acts to benefit others and demonstrate strong desire to make their communities and the world a better place. And whereas it is the scene of it is the sense of the legislative body that we proudly recognize and commend Jacqueline Nixon for her dedicated and outstanding work with the young adults in the city of Rensselaer. And whereas Jacqueline has a long-standing history of mentoring and being a positive role model for the youth of the community, and whereas Jacqueline Nixon has worked for 23 years with the Rensselaer City School District, first as an attendance officer, and later as a pre-kindergarten coordinator. And whereas when not working, she is volunteering for the PTA at the Fort Craylow School and Van Rensselaer Elementary, and is a charter member of the PTSA, Rensselaer Middle School. And whereas she is a member of the Rensselaer City Auxiliary Police, where she was one of the Auxiliary Police, Board of Commissioners for the Rensselaer Housing Authority, and a Ladies Auxiliary for the Rensselaer Boys and Girls Club. Whereas Jacqueline currently works at the Boys and Girls Club, and whereas continues to make a difference in her community, now therefore be it resolved that this legislative body does hereby pause in its deliberation to recognize Jacqueline Nixon for her dedicated service to the city of Rensselaer, and to be further resolved that the city clerk of the legislature hereby directed to transmit a copy of this resolution suitable for engrossment to Jackie Nixon. Before I turn the mic over, I just want to say, Jack, you know, I can't tell you how much of a pleasure it is, you know, to have you come down here, and I know how hard it is for you to do this as well, because you're not a person who takes recognition very well. You just stand up and do what you got to do as you feel you need to do it, and you do it well. And nobody knows that better than me, and so don't my children. And we appreciate that very much, and it is an honor and a privilege to me. But before I turn the mic over, is there anybody from the legislature who'd like to say anything more?
You said it all.
Thank you. I do have someone, one of Jessica Rowell from the Director of the Boys and Girls Club would like to say a few words. Step right up.
So good evening. I'd like to thank everyone involved in making tonight's special recognition possible. We so appreciate this opportunity made possible by the county legislature to honor and put the spotlight on Miss Jackie Nixon. There's a quote I love that truly brings you to mind, Miss Nixon, and that is, "Small acts, when multiplied by hundreds of people, can change the world." Thank you, Jackie. It's hard to put into words just how important you've always been to the organization and to the city. On behalf of the board and the staff, I want you to know how much we appreciate your years of service, your hard work, and dedication to the youth of Rensselaer. You've worn many hats in the city and also well at the Boys and Girls Club, and they've all been very important. But the most significant role you play is as Mama Nixon. And you play that role with everyone who comes through the door. You make it your business to not only know every child, but to genuinely care about every single young person we reach. As our warm, welcoming, friendly face and keeper of the gate, you help ensure that all of our members feel safe, feel loved, and know that they belong at the club. You've made an incredible difference in countless lives in Rensselaer, and this is evidenced by the number of alumni that come back to enroll their children in our programs. You truly demonstrate in words and in action that we rise by lifting others. At the Boys and Girls Clubs, we know that out-of-school hours are so critical for children. Having positive role models and mentors like Jackie, helpful with supporting with homework, a kind listening ear, and that feeling of safety can do more for a child than one would think. 28% of club alumni say they would have dropped out of school if it weren't for their club experience. 67% say the club kept them out of trouble with the law. So, Ms. Nixon, if you ever, and I hope you never do, but if you ever question the impact of what you do for our kids, please know that your steady, caring presence, encouragement, and guidance have without a doubt and will continue to change countless lives. We are so very blessed to have you. And so on behalf of our board, staff, and members, I'd like to present you with a special gift. And it's one we thought long and hard about. We weren't sure what to give the woman who has everything. But we wanted it to convey our deep appreciation of you and also to recognize the difference you make every day. So Tiffany has it, and I hope that this gift fits the bill and will be something you proudly display at the Boys and Girls Club. Thank you, Ms. Nixon. So, wow, in October of 1993, the same month, Ms. Nixon was featured in an article, a full spread in Good Housekeeping, related to her work as an avid PTA member and leader, but also as a proud mother in the city of Rensselaer. So we'll be very proud to hang this on the wall in recognition of Ms. Nixon.
You're
welcome.
Thank you, Jessica. That was great, and that sums up a lot of things. But nobody could sum it up probably any better than one of her family members. Does anyone from the family want to say a few words? Come on. No discipline will be had here.
The only thing I can say is that she's done everything except run for mayor.
She's got my vote. Okay, thank you, Jackie. I ask that you accept this as well from the Rensselaer County Legislature, and let you know that for the city of Rensselaer and everybody in the city of Rensselaer, I pass upon you our thanks. Thank you. Especially the Boys and Girls Club. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming. It's well appreciated. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you once again to Jacqueline Nixon on your dedicated service to the city of Rensselaer. Also passed last month, P 37417, resolution honoring Rensselaer County veteran airman Humbert Polly. It's our veteran of the month. Presentation by legislators Phil Danaher, Rob Bailey, Kelly Hoffman.
And because of the nature of this resolution, I would ask that our veteran representatives of the legislature also come up for this one. This is honoring our living vet. So we have Legislator Walsh here, Legislator Harrington, and Legislator Shannon, Vice Chairman. And we have the Poley family here with us also at this time. Come on down. And our guest of honor right here, right here. It is my distinct honor. Everybody come on in, come on in. Kelly Hoffman, stay nearby. You have some special parting gifts that we're going to talk about in a second. Why don't you come on over here?
Please.
And as the chairman has just indicated, this is P 37417 that was passed in honor of Humbert Poley, who is here. I get the name right? Yeah. No. Look at I disagreement in the family. Whereas it is consistent with the duty of this legislative body to recognize the achievements of the citizens of Rensselaer County, we acknowledge with respect and admiration individuals whose bravery and dedication have been so valuable to our community. And whereas Rensselaer County owes a great debt to the men and women of our loyal armed forces who so bravely stand ready to preserve our American heritage, and whereas Humbert Poley was born on November 30th a few years ago. I'll just leave it at that, all right? In New York City. Is that all right? All right. To the late Archibald and Anna Frone Poley, and whereas Humbert belonged to the Army National Guard while in high school, and in 1952 the United States Army wanted to recruit him for the Korean War, but instead he said, I'm enlisting in the United States Air Force, which you did on April 6, 1952. And whereas the Korean War was significant in the fact that it was the first war in which the newly independent United States Air Force was involved, and whereas Humbert trained at Sampson Air Force Base in New York and then Kessler Air Force Base in Mississippi, where he trained as a high-speed radio operator using a telegraph transmitter, all while obtaining his high school diploma at the same time. And whereas, as a ground radio operator, Humbert deciphered Morse code transmissions received and sent from base, as well as aboard the Douglas C-47 Skytrains during surveillance flights in order to transmit information back to the base. And whereas on April 30th, 1955, while in the States on a 2-month leave, Humbert married his high school sweetheart, Ellen Ford, and promptly headed to Ellington Air Force Base in Houston, Texas, where Humbert served as a ground radio operator using the military auxiliary radio system, and Ellen, a registered nurse, worked on the base. And whereas Humbert was honorably discharged on April 6, 1956, and relocated to Poughkeepsie, New York, where he began working for Western Electric, setting up their communications center. And whereas, after being honorably discharged, Humbert continued to serve his country in the Air Force Reserve from 1958 until 1961, and in the Air Force National Guard from 1961 until 1964. And whereas Humbert and his family eventually moved to Snyder's Lake, and whereas Humbert retired at the young age of 55 after 30 years of service with the United States Postal Service, and whereas Humbert and his late wife Ellen had 6 children, Kathleen, Michael, Terry, Mark, Patty, and Matt, as well as 11 grandchildren and 11 great-grandchildren. And whereas, that's service to his country right there, and whereas for his service, Humbert received the Korean Appreciation Medal, the United Service Medal, the National Defense Medal, and the Korean Service Medal, which is different. Humbert is a member of the American Legion Post 1775, the VFW Florida Post 8108, the Korean War Association Local and National NE Chapter, the Kamikia Air Force Base Nagoya Reunion Association, Inc., and the Sampson Air Force Base Veterans Association. Now, therefore, be it resolved that this legislative body does hereby acknowledge the sacrifices these great men and their families have made and continue to make for the ideals for which this nation stands, fully confident that Humbert's achievements and contributions will live on to serve as a legacy for all. And at this time, I'm going to ask Legislator Hoffman to come forward and present a special plaque to Humbert.
Humbert, it's an honor for us to recognize you tonight. This is a new program that we started this year to recognize our living veterans. We do our deceased veterans also once a month, but we thought it was important to recognize folks while we're here. And I'm so proud to have you reside in my district in Snyder's Lake. So I would like to present this proclamation to you. And we also have a special pin that we give our living vets at this ceremony once a month, and if it would be okay, I'd like to pin it on you. It's the Veterans Seal that we give to each one of our special veterans. Thank you so much for what you've done for your county, and thank you so much for what you've done for your country.
Internationals are, that's good.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, well, you get to retire? You get to retire?
No.
You didn't,
No.
you didn't finish it out all them years?
You had to go for credits,
Yeah.
you know. Didn't matter, no.
You were the Korean War?
Thank you.
Humbert, you did the Korean War, you fought. These gentlemen were Vietnam War and World War I. Mrs. Petty.
I couldn't resist, I couldn't resist.
World War I.
Civil War?
We just did a deceased veteran this morning, and it's good to do a live.
Right. Does anybody from the family want to say anything? Would you like to say something, Humbert, yourself?
I would like to thank the legislators for this honor. I'm not a hero, that's for sure.
Yes, you are.
And I appreciate it very much. Thank
Humbert,
you.
it's our honor. It's our honor.
If you guys want copies of this for yourselves, we can get extra copies for you. If you just want the girls, we can get.
Great.
Okay? Sure. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you for
Thank you, sir.
Thanks again.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
Can I shake his hand one more time? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Right. Thanks so much.
Thank you once again for your service, Airman Humbert Polly. Also passed last month, P 39717, is a resolution memoriam of Charles W. Whedon. And I know we have members from the Whedon family. You may come down and join us. Come on over. Come on, Sharon. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of us. This is a special resolution for Jeff and I to present. It's a resolution memoriam of Charles W. Whedon, Chuck, Iron. He's known as many different things to many of us. Dad, husband, grandpa. Whereas it's consistent with this legislative body to pay honor and respect to the persons who have had a great impact and influence on Rensselaer County during their time on this earth. We remember with deepest respect and admiration the life of an individual whose singular example enriched the lives of their family, friends, and definitely fellow citizens. And whereas attended to such duty and fully in accord with its long-standing traditions here, it is the intent of this legislative body to express its sincere sorrow upon the death of Charles W. Whedon, which occurred the 13th day of August, used in 2017. And whereas Charles Whedon was born January 28, 1948, the son of the late Lauren and Dorothy Ketchum Whedon, and whereas Charlie married wife Sharon McDonough on June 20th, 1970, and whereas Charlie was employed by the Hoosick Falls Central School District for over 30 years, first as a bus driver and then as the transportation supervisor, varsity girls softball coach for 2 decades or more. Whereas Charlie will be missed by his family, his wife Sharon, his children Jennifer, Andrea, and Jimmy, his grandchildren Alyssa and Mackenzie, his brothers Richard, Wes, Bruce, his sister Laura, and his sister-in-laws Elaine and Sue, as well as many nieces and nephews. Charlie was predeceased by his brother Vern. Now therefore be it resolved that the Rensselaer County Legislature conclude its deliberation in memory of Charles W. Whedon and extend its deepest sympathy to the family, fully in accord confident with its contributions to his community, will live on and serve as an inspiration for all. We have suitably engrossed resolutions. For me, I want to talk personally about Charlie Whedon, what he's meant to me as a person, as a young man growing up in the town of Hoosick. Many of you don't know this. I'm going to share a lot of things that you probably didn't know about me, but it's about Charlie, what he meant to me. Charlie meant a lot to a lot of people. So, fierce competitor Charlie Whedon was. As growing up in high school in the town of Hoosick, you got to play softball. When you graduated high school, you wanted to play softball, because that's what the in thing was to do, was play men's softball. And what Charlie Whedon had established in Hoosick Falls was fast pitch softball, which is kind of unheard of nowadays in the men's competition around here anymore. But Charlie was a driving force on doing that. So when you're growing up and watching all this happen, it's like, I want to be one of those guys. At the time, I wanted to be Dick Whedon. Charlie was the catcher. Dick Whedon was probably a renowned pitcher around this community in this region for years. I want to be that guy. So what do you do to do that? You got to put in effort and time. And what Charlie did for me, I started playing on a team, and trust me, I stunk. I had probably 19 walks my first game trying this sport out. And pitching and fast pitch, I know Kelly can tell you this and attest to this, it's a lot of hard work. But you got to have fortitude. And Charlie, I was on a different team, but Charlie, he would call me down on an off night, and he'd catch me. He'd help me, mentor me. Well, the rest is going to be history here in a minute about what I'm going to tell you, because I started out and I stunk, but 4 or 5 years later, you keep working at your sport. You keep working at it. Strive to be better. Charlie was one of those guys to help you strive to be better. Not just me. Jimmy can tell you this. His grandchildren can tell you. His daughter can tell you. His wife can tell you this. What he meant to so many youth and other people, elder people like myself. And he helped you get better at what you wanted to be good at. So he helped coach Hoosick Falls football. Hoosick Falls football and the coaching staff, they have nothing but sorrow in the locker room right now. They miss Charlie Whedon. They miss him being up on the tower on Friday nights in Hoosick Falls. He meant a lot to a lot of kids. What an impact this man had. And of course, we started off, you might have missed it, but Jeff started off by introducing some of them. He had a nickname for everybody. So his wife, Sharon, don't hit me. Her nickname is Fred. Jimmy is Spider. Doof. Geese is Andrea. And I have to apologize, Mackenzie and Alyssa, I don't know what your nicknames were.
Weasel and Pooper.
Weasel and Pooper. So growing up in fast pitch, and I would go down to the flats, we called it the flats, our softball field. You know, you're into this, so you're bringing your kids. I'm bringing my kids down there. He creates nicknames for my kids. My son's nickname was Ivan. My daughter's nickname was Buzzer. He had a nickname for everybody. Mine was Hey Now. How did I get Hey Now? Well, as you got better at your sport, we started traveling, playing fast pitch softball, I became a Whedon. And I've got my jersey right here. So I told Doof that I was going to give it to you. This is the appropriate time to give it to you tonight. Believe it or not, I used to fit in this thing 29 years ago. So I played for the Whedons. We traveled all over. We played at the Hilltop right over here when there was a league over there. So this is Charlie being Charlie, and Sharon can attest to this, Fred, excuse me. He'd do it on purpose. He'd schedule double headers. So we'd have a game in Hoosick Falls. Oh, yeah, we got a game down at the Hilltop tonight, too. So we'd buzz line down Route 7 and have a game against Peckham's and a Hilltop. Softball, one of his things was softball was his life. You can attest to that, right? You were coached by him. You were coached by him in football. Just a fierce competitor. To the point, I guess we had such success, we finally went to a state tournament. Class C state tournament. I have another thing here. I'm not going to give you this. I'm going to keep this because this is mine, but I can prove that I pitched for him. It's got my name on it. Stan, I found this in my archives in the basement. I pitched for Whedon's. We won our first game in 1988. We went into the loser's bracket the next game, and we came all the way back out of there, and we came in runner-up state champs that particular year in 1988. What a proud moment that made for Charlie Whedon, I can tell you that. Unfortunately, we were honored to be invited to go to Kingman, Arizona in the Nationals because of coming in runner-up. Well, that was the first year that Doug Luke at the time and Charlie were coaching football. So that nipped that in the bud. We couldn't go to the Nationals, but we had an opportunity to go. We'll remember that. So I just want to give you what my time with Charlie Whedon and what he's done for our community and our kids. And when it was time, Hoosick Valley needed a coach, he stepped up. He went over and made sure the kids could play. He went over and coached football at Hoosick Valley Central School just so they could play, the kids could play. He did it at Hoosick Falls, 8th grade girls basketball. Whatever it took, Charlie would step up and say, you know what, I want the kids to play. Did they have fun? They darn sure did. They had fun playing with Charlie. We all did. What a competitor. What fun we had. So tonight is about Charlie Whedon, and to the point the school board, after it, unfortunately he passed, they're naming the softball field after Charlie Whedon. So I can't say enough good about Charlie and the friendship that he's been to me and my family. We've been family friends for years. I have engrossed resolutions on behalf of the legislature for the family. Jeff, would you like to say something?
Yeah, just on that too, Stan. Charlie was going to be the modified field hockey coach this year because they couldn't find anybody else to do it. So he had stepped up to do that, but that didn't happen. No, like Stan says, known Charlie forever. Charlie was a bus driver too at the bus garage where he's really missed. Joe has to drive all the time now because he can't just call Charlie with 5 minutes to go and say, I need a bus driver. Yeah, it's Charlie was also a farmer too, at heart. He loved his animals, taking care of them too. But yeah, Charlie was special, that's for sure. Other than Stan, at the bus garage, I was about the only one that didn't have a nickname from. So, but no, Charlie was a special man, and he will be sorely missed all over, especially for the kids. So, thanks, Sharon.
I just want to thank Rensselaer County for honoring my dad like this. Everything that Stan and Jeff said are spot on, and he pretty much lived for the kids. And as you know, he just liked talking farming with Jeff still, and Wally Scheffer in the back. And I'm just proud to have him as my dad. And we could have filled the room up with how many kids he helped over the years that are not kids anymore, like myself. And will be sorely missed. Thank you.
Thank you once again to the Whedon family. Also passed last month, P 40317, resolution commending Deputy Police Chief Richard McAvoy for his distinguished service to the Troy Police Department. Presentation by legislators Manny, Grimm, Doran, Fleming, Pavlik. Any other legislator would like to join? I think Mr. Lubbridge and Mr. Bailey.
Chief, is that all? Is there a bus outside with a group of people in it? All right, I have to get this right. I was told that if I mess this up, I'm going to jail. I want to introduce, before we do anything, I want to introduce Deputy Police Chief Richard Buddy McAvoy, right here. Now, he is retired as of, I think, a month ago?
Yes.
A month ago. 39 years, maybe a little bit more than 39 years, but he's probably one of the most well-liked guys in the police department. And I did go around and I did get some sayings from some of the guys that you work with, so I'll just tell you some of them when we're finished here. But let me read the resolution first. Resolution commending Deputy Police Chief Richard McAvoy for his distinguished service to the City of Troy Police Department. Whereas it is consistent with the duty of this legislative body to recognize the contributions and achievements to the City of Troy and the citizens of Rensselaer County, we acknowledge with profound respect and admiration a man who has provided extraordinary and exemplary community service. Attendant to such duty and fully in accord with its long-standing tradition, it is the intent of this legislative body to convey its compliments to Deputy Police Chief Richard Buddy McAvoy, and as he completes his tenure from the Troy Police Department after 39 years of dedicated service. On May 1st, 1978, Richard McAvoy, or Officer Richard McAvoy, began his career with the Troy Police Department and then quickly continued to rise through the ranks. On June 14, 1985, he became a sergeant, followed by a promotion to captain on February 23, 1990, then to assistant police chief on January 12, 2005, and deputy police chief on April 22, 2010, a position he proved to be well qualified for, now retired as of September 9th, 2017. Deputy Police Chief McAvoy is an individual who was truly dedicated to the safety, health, and welfare of the residents of the city, of his community, and has provided outstanding service to those who have been in dire need, thus contributing to the welfare of the entire city of Troy and Rensselaer County. In Buddy's own words, police work is 90% helping people, 5% chaos, and 5% dealing with bad people. Deputy Police Chief McAvoy has earned many accolades during his tenure at the Troy Police Department. He was awarded the Silver Shield Award for bravery after saving an elderly couple from a fire and earned 44 commendations and 8 noteworthy police letters. Nowhere is the dedication to response more felt or acted upon with more resolve than by our City of Troy Police Department, who so fully emulate the ideals embraced in police service in police service. Now therefore be it resolved that the Rensselaer County Legislature pours in its deliberations to acknowledge the outstanding efforts and notable contributions of Deputy Police Chief Richard McAvoy to the community and extends their best wishes in all his future endeavors. And be it resolved that the clerk of the legislature transmit a copy of this resolution suitably engrossed to Deputy Police Chief Richard McAvoy. Now, I also went around and I asked a few of the other officers if they could comment on things that that they would like to say at your retirement. And here's what I got. Wait a minute, let me read number. No, I can't say that. No. There's 3 that are going. Oh, here's one. This one I can say out here. Don't worry. Chief McAvoy was always a calming influence in rare times of unrest in the community. He was extremely well respected by his peers and subordinates throughout his decorated career. One of the other officers, his ability to unite the community and the Troy Police Department was unmatched by wasn't matched by any other. Chief McAvoy had also respect of the entire Troy Police Department and was considered the ultimate leader, and more importantly, was a profound teacher to the men and women of the police department. His leadership style was admirable by many, or admired by many, and matched by few. Chief, congratulations on 39 years. Now, just one other thing. I know you got over 122 people here, but could you at least introduce your family?
Sure. This is my wife, Michelle, my daughter, Miranda, my daughter, Siobhan, my granddaughters, Grayson and Willa, my son, Sean, my grandson, Nolan, my son-in-law, Michael, behind him. Oh, where's Landon? My sister, Candace, my sister, Debbie, my sister, Kathy, my sister, Pam, my nephew, Robert, my cousin, David, and where's Landon? Oh, there's Landon and my daughter-in-law over there. I really appreciate this award. It means a lot to me. Every day that I got up to go to work, I thought I could find an opportunity to help people. And my life has been an adventure. And I'm lucky that I got to play the lead character. Extremely lucky. I thank God. I thank the support of my family, but I won't miss the phone calls late at night when there's some kind of chaos going in the city. Retirement's great. I played 18 holes this morning. I dropped my granddaughter off at the nursery school, and then I helped my wife change a couple of diapers. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Any other legislator want to say anything? Okay.
No, I just wanted to say that I've known Buddy since, well, 50 years at least. We grew up in the same neighborhood. And, you know, actually when we were young, we probably did some things on the railroad tracks or the river bank that, you know, we wouldn't, well, I didn't think he'd become a police officer at that point anyway, or me do what I do. But I got a text, and I relayed this to Buddy. I got a text when somebody said that Buddy was retiring, and I was with someone who did grow up in Troy. He's only been here a year or two, and so you know, I said, "Oh wow, what a shame, you know, for the city, and you know how good it is for Buddy." And anyway, they said, "Why? What's the deal?" And I said, "Well, Buddy, you know," and I explained how we were friends when we were young, and I explained his relationship with the community. You know, he's well respected in the senior community, certainly the minority community, the neighborhood where we grew up, and the business community, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, I talked at length about how good a guy he was, and the person said to me, "Wow, you know, wow, you really hold this guy in high regard." And I said, "Yes, I do." And I thought about an old axiom that, you know, if you want to be held in high esteem, you do esteemable things. And that's the epitome of Buddy's career and his spot in his community. I congratulate him on his retirement. And this Troy Police Department will be a we'll miss him. But thankfully, he's here to be a community member, friend, neighbor, family person, and Rensselaer County is, if I can speak for Rensselaer County, lucky to have had him. Thanks, bud.
Having worked with, in law enforcement for a while, and having worked for the Sheriff's Office here in Rensselaer County, I had the opportunity to know Buddy, and I have total admiration and respect for him as a law enforcement officer. He's somebody that you could look up to, somebody you could admire, and knew that they were always doing the right thing. And I just wanted to publicly say that to you. And then realize now that I'm retired and he's retired, so he's joining that club. But not too long ago, I happened to be over in Freer Park golfing, which I don't do very well. And I was putting along, and all of a sudden this other fella catches up to me behind me, and I turn around and it's Buddy. So he says, "Here's what you got to do to fix your game." And sure enough, I was playing better by the time I got done. So I not only admire him for his professional career in law enforcement and representing all law enforcement, but I also admire him for being a great golfer. Buddy, congratulations.
Anyone else? Anyone from the family? No? All right, buddy, I do have some copies of this resolution for you. Once again, congratulations, and thank everybody for coming.
Yeah. Congratulations. All deserved. Enjoy. You're welcome. Thank you once again, Chief. I believe that concludes our presentation portion of the meeting.